Welcome to the One Chance Coaching Podcast. My name's Claire. Please be aware I'm not a doctor. This is my advice from me to you. I do have a level 3 life coaching diploma, and I have also passed my level 2 certificate in understanding nutrition and health to help best advise you along your journey. Well, good morning, good morning. How are you? This is a special, sorry I'm late, but it is here eventually podcast. I'm not particularly well. I've come down with some sort of lurgy. So if I'm a little bit huskier and sexier than usual, then I do apologise. My voice is incredibly low. And it's not until I'm listening to myself recording this that I realise quite how Mariella Frostrop I am. But there we go. I feel like I haven't spoken to you guys for ages because the week before I had pre-recorded with Kel. And then obviously I missed Monday because life just got in the way. And sometimes I'm going to have to cut myself some slack and realise that, it's not like this is anyone's paying me to do these podcasts. So this is time. And, for every half-hour podcast you listen to, there's somebody that's done the prep and the recording and the editing and the uploading and the video and everything else. So sometimes life just gets in the way, and sometimes being a life coach, I have to give my own advice. And it's very, very easy to give advice, isn't it? So easy to give advice, so difficult to take it. But this week I went, do you know what? I just haven't got time to do it. The whole week it was just completely battered with daughter and husband and work and everything else. And I just did not have time to do it. However, I have found myself with a little bit of time today before I go to the gym. So I thought I would just catch up with you. So quite a lot has happened since the last time I spoke to you. Before I'd spoken to you last, I was still on my way to my goal weight. That happened. So woohoo! I reached my goal weight on the 5th of December, having started on the 20th of June. And I'm absolutely thrilled about that. So I am well into my maintenance phase now. Today is the 20th of December. So today is 6 months since I joined Team RH. I think this happened last time I was on a podcast. I got to a monthly anniversary. So it's 6 months to the day that I joined. And in that time, excuse me, there may be a bit of that today. In that time, I've managed to reach my goal. And I'm absolutely thrilled about that. I also have passed my nutrition course. So I now have a TQ UK Level 2 certificate in understanding nutrition and health. Now, I did have somebody come at me on TikTok saying, oh, you're not qualified to give advice, and basically just slating me. And I tried to come back and forth and say, look, I haven't ever said I'm a nutritionist. He was basically saying that I was implying I was a nutritionist. I'm not. At no point have I ever said that I am. I was interviewing Kel, who is. And she's qualified up the wazoo, and I am not. The reason I did my nutrition and health qualification was really for my own benefit moving forward, because when I started this journey on the 20th of June, I promised myself this was the last weight loss journey I was ever going to do. And I meant it. I made that absolute commitment to myself. I said, I am never, ever going to do this again. So I have to keep it off now. I made that commitment to myself. I consider that like a marriage vow to me and my old self. I have made a commitment to say that you're never going to go back there. So that's why I did that nutrition qualification, was just so that I could give myself the absolute, give myself an arsenal of information. And I may well go on and do some more, but I need a little break from study at the moment. So it might be that in the future I decide to do some more. I've always wanted to do a counselling course as well. So I'm just one of those people that likes to continually study, but I need little breaks from it in between. So yes, just to clarify that. The other thing that's really exciting is that my website is now live. So you can pop along to that. And as of January, I'm going to be looking at taking on my very first clients. So it is December. It's nearly the end of December. So I actually am compiling a waiting list of people. So the way that my coaching is going to run is that I'm going to be taking on people no more than 3 to start with, because I'm going to be offering one-to-one Zoom calls in that package. So I'm going to take on 3 clients in January, hopefully, And I want to be as present for them as I possibly can be and give you the absolute best of the knowledge that I can share with you. You get 2 Zoom calls a week. There's going to be email, you can email me every day. Don't expect back and forth all day, because we all have lives, but you will get an opportunity to email me once a day, and I will reply to that. I'm also going to be setting up a Facebook group for members so that you can chat to each other and create a slightly more niche sort of support network for people that are trying to do something alongside the advice that I'm going to give you. But basically, it's a hand holding expedition whereby you have got somebody at any point that you can turn to and go, I need a bit of support here. And sometimes we can't always get that from the people that are closest to us, because they might not get it. They might not get it. They might not understand. And that's something I'm going to be talking about in next week's podcast, which will be dropping on Christmas Day. So you can listen to that while you're chopping your sprouts or whatever it is you're doing. So yeah, the website is now up and running. So if you want to have a look at that, I'm really pleased with it. I think it's really pretty. And I built it myself, as always. I do everything myself. So that is onechancecoaching.com. And there you go. So that is now up and running. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what happens when you get to goal. Now, we all focus really heavily on our fat loss journey. And I think this is one of the biggest issues that we face whilst on a weight loss journey or a fat loss journey, whatever you want to call it, is that we focus so heavily on the losing that we don't think about what the hell happens when I get there. What happens at the end of the race? What happens at the finish line where you get there? And if you're anything like me, you've got there before. Now, I've done this before. I've got to my goal weight. This will be the third time that I've done it as an adult, has got to my actual goal weight. I did it once with Weight Watchers, I did it once with Slimming World, and now I've done it with Team RH. And this is the only time that I feel confident that I can keep it off. And there are multiple reasons for that. Firstly, I went in this time with a completely different outlook. Secondly, I came in this time with the benefit and the hindsight of having done it twice before and failed by not keeping to my goal weight. And thirdly, I had made that commitment that this was the last time I was going to do it. So I had to learn about how I was going to keep it off. And actually, the entire time that I was losing, I was focused on learning about reverse dieting. Now, reverse dieting it's a funny old term, isn't it? Because you're like, what? I'm undoing my diet? That's weird. But that's basically exactly what it means. When you're in a fat loss phase, your metabolism takes a bit of a hammering, and you can't just get to your goal weight and then go, oh, okay, excellent. And then I'm going to work out what my TDEE is, and that's your total daily energy expenditure. Okay, there's acronyms everywhere and they're a bloody nightmare. So your total daily energy expenditure is every calorie that you burn from the minute you wake up to the minute that you go to bed, and while you're asleep as well. So it's your totally 24-hour calorie burn, okay? So actually, just ignore that. It's not from when you wake up. It's 24 hours. That's what you burn. And actually, you burn most of your calories while you're at rest or while you're sleeping or while you're doing everything. So this is why it's so important not to exercise to lose weight, because you actually only burn a very, very small percentage of your TDEE by exercising. So you can't just go from a deficit, say you're on 1,700 or 1,800 calories a day, to work out your TDE as 2,300 calories a day and jump from one to the next, because what's going to happen is that you're going to gain weight and potentially you could spiral. So what you need to do is go very, very gradually. Now, I'm not going to give you all the details because I feel like I'll be cheating on Team RH if I do that. Okay, so if you become a client of mine, I'm going to help you more with this, okay, once you get to where you need to be. Or you might not come to me at that stage. You might come to me at the beginning of your fat loss journey, in which case I'm going to help you, shed the fat. But if you need to know about this stuff, maybe you need the support after you've lost the weight, and I know that will count for an awful lot of people, then I can help you more with that. So basically it's about upping your calories very, very gradually. Okay, so when I first got to my goal weight on the 5th of December, I was like, right, shit, what now? So I emailed Team RH and I was like, I've done it. I've got to goal. I've been looking and reading up on reverse dieting. what are my steps moving forward? And she came back to me within the hour. I had a lovely email from a lovely lady with a lovely Geordie accent. In fact, she sent me a little voice note as well, and sent me all the information that I needed to do with regards to reverse dieting. Now, they also give you the option for a clean bulk, and that's basically about building a lot of muscle mass. I want to build a bit of muscle mass and I want to make myself a bit more defined, but I don't want to do huge amounts of muscle mass building because I just want to get to a point where I'm really comfortable in my body, and also cut myself a little bit of slack and think, do you know what? Yeah, this has got to be making it work in the long term now for me, and keeping it sustainable. And working out 5 days a week is not sustainable for me. I don't have time for that. So 3 times a week is enough for me, and I focus very much on weights on that time. And I'm also introducing a bit more cardio now as well. So I up my calories by 100. And I was like, oh my God. Now, I likened this to in a TikTok that I did recently, whereby if you've got little children, you'll understand what I mean. When they go to school for the first time and you think, oh my God, I'm going to have my days free. I'm going to go out for lunch and I'm going to have all this free time and my house is going to be immaculate and I'm going to do this. And then by the time you've dropped them and come home and walked the dogs or put the breakfast things away and made the beds and run the hoover around or whatever, you realise you have no time at all. And the time has just slipped away from you. It's a little bit like that when you start introducing those extra calories. You think, oh my God, I'm going to have so many calories. What am I going to do with them all? It's going to be amazing. And then you realise that actually an extra 100 calories a day is fuck all. It's really not very much at all. So I upped them by 100 and my weight stayed firm. And I was like, right, that's great. That's brilliant. And then so I upped them by another 50 and everything stayed okay. So I am currently, I'm just trying to work out where I'm at. Well, I was on 1850 when I was losing. I was between 1850 and 2,000 calories a day to lose the weight that I lost. I was doing a lot of steps. Now, they do recommend that you reduce your steps down to what is your normal without going above and beyond. So I've reduced my steps down to 10,000 now, and I was doing 15. So I'm back to 10,000 now, which is lovely, actually. I mean, some days I go way over that, and some days I don't, and that's fine. So that's just making it a little bit more manageable day to day so that you don't feel like your whole life is like running on a treadmill trying to get your steps in. Please bear with me when I cough. So I was on 1850 and I am now on 2,100 2 weeks in, and I'm staying firm. So I got to my goal weight. My goal weight was 160. I got to 159.5, I think, on the day that I reached goal. This morning I've gone up and I've gone back down again, and this morning 15 days later I am 158 point something. So I'm holding firm and I'm really pleased with that. So that means 2 weeks have elapsed. I've upped my calories by about 300 and I'm living my best life. Okay. Now, there's things that you need to keep an eye on when you're reverse dieting. Team RH will recommend that you go and get some body fat calipers. I personally haven't done that because I don't. You sort of need somebody to do it for you, and that's not something that I'm prepared to do. Everyone is different. If you have a partner or a husband or whatever that, or a wife or a significant other or a child or a friend that you're happy to do those caliper readings once a week, then great. Personally, it's not something that I want to do. I don't want to stand in the bedroom and have my husband pinch my body fat. That's just not something that I'm prepared to do. I do have the Renpho scales, and the Renpho scales give you a body fat percentage reading. Is it as accurate as the calipers? No, I'm sure it's not. Is it a guide? Yeah, it is. So I guess it all depends on how far and how seriously you want to take this, okay? So I'm using the Renpho scales, which give you all the details. So what you're going to be keeping an eye on is your weight daily, your muscle mass, and your body fat weekly. So they don't tell you to keep an eye on your muscle mass. I'm doing that for my benefit. So it's really keep getting on the scales every day. Give yourself a buffer of weight. So I've given myself up until about 163, 164. If I get to 165, then I'm going to go back into a deficit and get my weight back down to where it should be. That is what I have committed to myself. If my body weight reaches 165, because I can fluctuate up and down to sort of 163 without it being any issue at all, and it's not body fat. If my body weight gets to 165, I'm keeping an eye on that body fat as well. Then that's when I'm going to have to start looking at things, unless I've had a significant spike in muscle mass, in which case I'm not going to worry too much. Okay, so my buffer is 165. That is my top limit that I will let myself get to now, and I'm not going to get any higher than that. I'm at 158 today and feeling fabulous. Okay, so muscle mass. When you're talking about muscle mass, do you want to gain muscle? And if you do, there's plenty of support on how to do that. There's lots and lots of groups on Facebook and things like that where you can join, and it will be people doing the same thing as you. So if you're looking at building your muscle mass and getting yourself real strong and real buff and a six-pack and abs, and that's the same thing, and and big bulging biceps or whatever, then great. You do what works for you. I'm quite content with my muscles sort of the way they are at the moment. I wouldn't mind a little bit more definition, but actually I'm quite pleased. For the first time in my life, I like my arms, So there's some loose skin there for sure. But I'm just going to not worry about it. I'm going to talk about that in next week's episode. So do you want to increase your muscle mass? If you do, then you have to expect your weight to go up. And this is why I think it's really, really dangerous that people talk about being in these stone brackets. I'm in the 10s, I'm in the 11s, I'm in the 9s, I'm in the 8s, whatever it is. Because actually none of that stuff really means anything when it comes down to how you feel in yourself and what you look like. Somebody that is very, very muscular can come out as morbidly obese or obese on the BMI scale, but they're absolutely buff as anything and look fantastic. So if you're looking to build muscle, expect the scale to go up and be okay with it. Okay, so use a different measure. Get a tape measure out, do your waist measurements, do your thighs and your arms. Now, the body fat measurements are key. If you haven't got a digital sort of smart scale, I would recommend getting one. They're about 30 quid. If you use the Renfo scales, if you go to Renfo UK website, you can get 10% off with the code Claire10. That makes me really happy to say that, but there is a 10% code with my name. So you can use Claire10, CLAIRE 10 in numbers, all capital letters, and that will give you 10% off. They're only about 33 quid, I think, to start with. So it takes you about £30. And honestly, they're a game changer. They will give you so much more information than just that number. So if you've done your weight loss journey and you're like, right, now I'm hitting maintenance, as a reward for getting that weight off and doing so well, treat yourself to a pair of Renfo scales, because honestly, they're fantastic. So you're going to be looking very closely at your body fat percentages. Okay. Now, if your body fat increases between 0.1 and 0.5 increase, okay, you're going to either increase your calories by 100. That sounds counterintuitive. Or you can remain the same. It depends on how cautious you want to be. I decided to remain the same when that happens to me because I want to be extra cautious, because I don't want to go back. Okay, so it depends how free and easy you are with it. You could up them by 100 and then realise that you've gone too far. You're going to have to bring them back down again. If you have a 0.5% or more increase, you're going to drop your calories by 100. Okay, this is all in your body fat. If it stays the same and you're happy with where you are, you're at your goal weight and you're happy, then you increase by 100. If it drops, if your body fat percentage drops, you're going to increase, again, assuming that you're happy with where you are and you are truly at your goal weight and you're not still a bit undecided. If it drops, then you need to increase by 200. That's a bit complicated. If you are with Team RH, they will come in and explain that to you again, and you'll have it. What I did is I screenshotted it. Okay. The other thing that they did say to me when I got to goal is that don't freak out. The scale is going to go up when you up those calories. It is water. Okay. Bear in mind that when I first upped my calories, I upped them by 100 calories per day. Okay. In order to gain a pound of fat, we know it's 3,500 calories. Okay, so you absolutely must not freak out when that scale goes up. Okay, and I will tell you this. If you have been a long-term, lifelong dieter like me, I have been on a diet. It feels like every few months since I was about 14 years old, and I'm now 47. It is going to be really really weird for you to get on the scale and be happy with it staying the same. I'm going to say that, and I will keep saying it. It is a very odd concept if you are a lifelong dieter, a yo-yo dieter. You've been doing it for years. And all of a sudden, you're going to get on the scale every day and you're going to go, it's the same. And there will be a little part of your brain that's going, oh, but I wanted to lose. And that is really, really odd. And you just have to remind yourself that you've done it. So every day when I get on the scale, if it's what I want it to be, I'm like, great, excellent, get on with my day, get on with my day. Once a week, I'm going to make a note of those body fat percentages. I'm going to keep an eye on my calories, and I am still tracking every single morsel that I eat. I am going to be paying attention to that, and I will come back to that later in this episode. But yeah, it is a very strange feeling to get on the scale and be okay with it, either going up a little bit or staying the same. I still get a little gleeful joy in my brain when it goes down. I got to 158 this morning. I went, yes. And there it was. I was like, oh, it's still there. It's still there. But it's been 2 weeks. All right. So I have to remind myself it's only been 2 weeks. So I need to cut myself some slack there. But I just bear in mind when you get to your goal weight, it's a very odd thing. And once you get there and you're on it, and you get on the scale, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a very strange sensation. So, your water weight will happen as well. I just want to sort of, bear that in mind. When you up your calories by 100, you're going to stack on. So my first few days, if you go back and look at my TikToks, my first few days after I got to goal weight, my weight went up by a pound a day. But I kept firm and went, I haven't eaten 3,500 calories extra per day, so I haven't gained a pound of fat a day. It's as straightforward as coming back to the fact, okay, every single time. Fact over fad. I say it most weeks. Okay, things to bear in mind moving forward, okay? And this is the things that I have just jotted down. Number 1, it's for life. You made this commitment to yourself that you were going to do it. I made a commitment to myself 6 months ago today that this was the last time I was ever going to do it. And it is for life. I harp on and on and on about the fact that your weight loss journey should reflect how you're planning on living from now on. If you are not planning on giving up carbs for the rest of your life, then don't give up carbs to lose the weight. In fact, you shouldn't be giving up carbs anyway. You need them. Your body needs them. It's nutrition. 55% of the energy should be coming from carbohydrates in order to fuel you. If you don't get carbs, you're going to want sugar. It's really, 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 really important that we learn a little bit about nutrition just for our own sake. Okay, so it's for life. Okay, keep that in mind. And the second thing I wrote down is weigh daily. Now, my biggest problem has always been scale avoidance. I will get on scale, I will lose weight, I will do well, and then I will stop doing what I was doing. I'll go back to eating exactly what I was before, and I will start avoiding the scale because I avoid the scale because I know what the scale is going to tell me. It's going to tell me something I don't want to see. It's going to say, you've put on weight again. You've done it again. Okay, so I am always going to get on the scale every day. That is another commitment I have made to myself. That's one of my vows. Okay. My vows. It's for life. I'm never doing it again, and I'm going to get on the scale every day that I can. If there's not one because I'm somewhere else, then I'm not going to carry my scale around with me, but I will be making sure that every day that I am at home, I will get on the scale. Because what happens if I don't? I know what happens if I don't. I've been there. Remain consistent with your workouts and the exercise that you did. Okay, now I have said previously in this podcast episode that I have reduced my steps down a little bit and I've cut myself a bit of slack. I don't have to do 15,000 steps a day, but I am remaining absolutely consistent with 10,000 steps a day. The only time that is not going to happen is if I have over-egged my steps every single day and I get to a Sunday and I think, do you know what, that's fine because my average for the week is X amount. So some days I will get up on a Sunday morning and my step goal will be 0 in my Team RH app because I have done over every single day and I've actually, smashed my goals. Hang on a minute. Sorry, poorly. So whatever exercise you did, remain consistent with it. You don't need to be in the gym 7 days a week. You need to just keep something going to keep your cardiovascular health up, look after yourself, keep those muscles primed and keep, the exercise is key for the maintenance phase, I think. I said this all the way through my weight loss. I was like, I'm not exercising to lose weight. I am exercising because I want to get into the habit of exercising so that it will help me keep the weight off once I get to my target weight. And I really do believe that that is the case. Stay firm on your nutrition. Put nutrition first. Okay, so you've got extra calories to use. Once you start getting to your maintenance phase, you're going to have extra calories. What are you going to spend them on? Look at it like extra pocket money, yeah? You've had a pay rise. Be aware that an extra 100, 200 calories, 300 calories doesn't go very far. Okay, but what are you going to spend those things on? Prioritize your nutrition first. Keep going with your protein. Keep going with your fiber. Don't sack it all off once you get to goal, because all that will lead to is a fast track back to regaining the weight that you've lost. Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier, and I said come back to it, is paying attention to portion sizes. I'm still weighing all my food. Do I consider myself wanting to still be weighing all my food a year from now? No, I'd like to hope that a year from now I'm not having to weigh all my food out. But that is why I am paying attention very closely to what those portion sizes look like now. When I pour my cereal out in the morning, I know roughly what 60 grams of all bran looks like. I know that 2 slices of fairly, standard wholemeal toast is about 65 grams once toasted. I'm sort of all right with that. And I think it's really, really important to get to know what those portion sizes look like. Now, it's very easy for those things to creep up over time. So it might be that if you find your weight just creeping up a little bit, you just go back and go, okay, I'm just going to weigh everything again for a month or, 6 months or a week or whatever it is that you need to get you back to where you need to be in terms of, just because we can rely on a visual to a point, okay? But try and consider it like an investment. I have always said that the weighing and the measuring is not a lot of fun, but I'm so used to doing it now that I don't even really think about it. The scales just live next to where I dish up my dinner, and that's fine. I'm not bothered about weighing it. But I would like to hope that in time I'll be able to just get up in the morning and have myself a bowl of cereal without thinking too much about it. Okay, so if you're doing things like, your protein powder, you're going to need to weigh that because that's a specific portion. It's a bit like baking cake. You wouldn't necessarily do that without weighing the ingredients. Okay, so those are my little tips on reverse dieting and what happens once you get to goal. I'm going to upload this today with an apology for being late. And I'm going to wish you a very merry lead up to Christmas. Okay, it's 5 days to go. Good God. Has come round rather fast, and I'm immediately going to have another cup of coffee and then record next week's podcast. So while you are prepping your Christmas dinner, if you want to get away from the family noise for a bit, put some noise cancelling headphones on, and then I'll have a little chat with you on Christmas Day. I'm going to keep it quite light. So next week I'm going to be doing a podcast on all the things that people don't tell you about how your life's going to be once you've lost weight. And it's going to be lighthearted and a bit of fun for Christmas Day. Enjoy the run up to Christmas. Don't derail your plans. Get on with whatever it is you've got to get on with. And also don't think that having 2 Quality Street is going to absolutely make you have to chuck your diet in the fuck it bucket. It absolutely won't. Enjoy the festive run up. This is the best bit. The run up to Christmas is by far and away the best bit. So just enjoy yourself and have a lovely time with your family. And I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you are happy and well and safe. And I will catch you next week. Take care, my darlings. Bye-bye. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please give me a rate and review. That would be amazing. You can also, if you're listening from Spotify, share straight to your stories. You can now contact me at my brand new website at www.onechancecoaching.com.